Good evening, everybody, and welcome to SRN Live Television. I am your host, Steve Manderson from Sports Tuesday. I hope everybody had a great day today. Hope everybody had a great week last week and a great weekend. Now, we have a great show for you tonight. This coming weekend is the 2018 NFL Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which includes 8 new inductees this year, which is Randy Moss, Ray Lewis, Terrell Owens, Bobby Beathard, Brian Dawkins, Brian Urlacher, Robert Brazil, and Jerry Kramer. This is an excellent group of inductees, well deserving of their Hall of Fame induction. So, my guest tonight on my Hall of Fame show, this gentleman has been on before, and he is the author of Talking Football. In fact, he has volumes of that book, and his name is David Spada. We will be talking about the different inductees for this year. As I said, we have 8 inductees for this year. Randy Moss, Ray Lewis, Terrell Owens, Brian Urlacher, Brian Dawkins, Robert Brazil, and Jerry Kramer, and well deserving of their induction. And here right now to talk about their inductions, no stranger to Sports Tuesday. Let me bring on right now David Spada. David, how are you?
Good. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Welcome back to Sports Tuesday.
Thanks for having me on. Another
Yes,
big year for the Hall of Fame.
another big year. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And a good list, too. Randy Moss, Ray Lewis, Terrell Owens, Brian Dawkins, Brian Urlacher, Robert Brazil, and Jerry Kramer, and Bobby Beathard. A great list this year, 8 in all. Your impression of this group this year, is it any complaints there, in your opinion?
No, I'm just glad Jerry Kramer got in. He had to wait over 40 years. He was the last guy from the half-century team of the NFL to get in. He was the only one not to get in at the time. And again, he waited over 40 years, and again, he deserved it. I've always liked seeing the old guys get in, like the Bobby Beathards or the Robert Brazils, because again, they had to wait, and I think they appreciate even more than the guys who get in on the first ballot.
Yeah, that I was just talking before you came on. I just was talking about Jerry Kramer. It took so long for him to get in. I mean, he was part of the legendary Packer teams that won the first 2 Super Bowls against Kansas City and Oakland. And I was like, wow. When I first heard his name, I said, this guy should have been in the Hall about 30 years ago. I mean, he was,
Exactly. I think that book he wrote, The Instant Replay, didn't help. A lot of players held it against him, I think writers, because again, there was no tell-all books back in the late 60s. It just started like right after that book.
yeah, true, true. Robert Brazil, he finally gets in. He had a tremendous career, mostly with the Houston Oilers. Your opinion of him?
Great player. I mean, again, he was overlooked because he played in those Houston teams. Everybody, when they think of those teams in the late 70s, early 80s, it was all Earl Campbell, but Brazil led that defense. I mean, you had Curly Culp on there, Alvin Bazea, but again, Brazil was a great player. But Brazil retired. I think he was only 30 years old because, I don't know if you're familiar with that, his wife passed away, and he stayed home and raised his kid. He thought that was more important than him continue to play football for a couple more years. And that probably hurt him. He had played 10, 12 years in the league.
Mm, true. Who knows how long he could have played? He was very durable. That was for sure.
What's interesting is where he went to college. He went to Jackson State, and his teammates were Walter Payton, who's in the Hall of Fame, and Jackie Slater. How many small colleges could put 3 guys in the Hall of Fame that were on the team at the same time?
Yes, very good point. Definitely gives that school a plug, that's for sure. Brian Dawkins, this guy, I'm being a big time Giant fan. This guy was a pain in the ass with the Eagles. the many times he disrupted offenses, not just for my team, but all over. A tremendous corner. This was his first time out of the box. Am I correct? Was his last year or the year before?
Again, he's relatively new on the ballot. It might have been his first or second year.
Yes, well, he gets in already. How amazing is that? Tremendous cover guy. And as I said, he was a pain in the ass to my team. I mean, every time you look, interception, Dawkins, this and that, I'm like, oh my God. But he knew how to play the position, and he did it well. And this was one guy that was well deserving of Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, I mean, to get in that early is rare, especially for safeties because they make them wait usually, unless you're a Ronnie Lott or something like that. I mean, it's not automatic.
Yes, but he got in, and didn't take long for him to do it. And at a time where the Eagles this year are defending their Super Bowl championship, so in a way, the timing is right. So right now is a good time for Eagle fans.
They're doing something right there in Philly.
They are, that's for sure. Brian Urlacher, I really like this guy. One of the true linebackers that you had. The way he played the position was very old school, very reminiscent of Dick Butkus. He had quickness. He's one of the fastest linebackers that played the game, and I was very impressed. I'm very happy that he got in. He ferocious and going after running backs, going after the receivers. Your opinion of Brian Urlacher?
Being from Chicago, I watched him play a lot. Again, he was the leader of that defense in the 2000s. They're a great player. I kind of doubted he was going to get in as a first ballot with Ray Lewis because usually they won't take two people from the same position in a given year. But again, it talked about how great he was, or shows how great he was for him and Ray Lewis to get in. I mean, he was great. Ray Lewis was even more dominant than Urlacher. And plus, Lewis won 2 Super Bowls, which didn't hurt either.
Yeah, well, Brian, he went to one Super Bowl, lost to the Colts, but no fault of his. But yeah, you got to win it too. But I just enjoyed the way he played the game. His speed was just amazing for a linebacker. And you might as well say the same for Ray Lewis as well. Well, actually, let's talk about Ray Lewis. Doesn't surprise me that he gets in on the first ballot, without a doubt. And 2 Super Bowls and All Pro, and for him to end his career as a Super Bowl champion, that's the way you want to go out. But he was very ferocious. Another one with quickness, a true example of a leader on defense.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you mentioned Urlacher. Urlacher was a safety in college. Again, and when they made him a linebacker, he was originally an outside linebacker, but they put him in middle linebacker. And again, Lewis was quick, but Urlacher was even quicker. But Lewis, I think, had that killer mentality where Urlacher would hit you, but Lewis wanted to kind of kill you like Dick Butkus.
He did. He did. I mean, to me, he came off as a psychotic. Well, Brian, you might as well say the same thing. Those two guys, they're screaming and yelling and going nuts on the field. Ray is scary. If I was a running back or even a receiver, I would be very leery of Ray Lewis because when he hit you, you were very slow to get up. And a physical specimen. I've seen him in interviews with his shirt off, and I'm like, man, what did they chisel you out of stone? Really a tremendous athlete, well deserving. As I said, it doesn't surprise me that he got in on the first ballot. Randy Moss, one of the great receivers, the catches that he made. He had a bit of attitude, which cost him, drove him out of Minnesota, and at times it drew him out of the Raiders. Came close to winning the Super Bowl when he hooked up with Tom Brady in New England in that perfect season only to lose their only game against the Giants in the Super Bowl. He kind of wanted to feel bad, even though I'm a Giant fan. You really wanted to feel bad for him because this was his moment where he came close to doing it.
Oh, exactly. I mean, he was with Minnesota when they had that great season with Randall Cunningham when they went 15-1. Everybody thought they were going to go to Super Bowl that year. And again, same thing with the Patriots. But I mean, that guy, with his speed and his size, he was unstoppable back in the day. I mean, he would just run by everybody. There was no real route running. It was just run past everyone, throw him the ball, and he's gone.
Yeah. I mean, he was making like one-handed catches before Odell Beckham was doing it. I mean, Odell Beckham has made it into a spectacle, but Randy was doing it way before he came on the scene with his height and size, his agility. I just wish that he had a Super Bowl ring to cap off a brilliant career. But he gets in, and at times that can be for so a lot of players that is more important, to be recognized by your peers as one of the greatest of all time.
Lou
Hmm.
Holtz told me that the biggest recruit he let get away was Randy Moss. He said if he would have been at Notre Dame, he said I would have won another national championship. He's the one guy who got away. I kind of believe him on that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Bobby Beathard, GM for the Redskins, also GM for the San Diego Chargers, one of the great front office people. Your opinion of Bobby getting in? Should he have gotten in sooner?
I think so. I mean, people forget that Bobby started with the Miami Dolphins. He would put those teams together with Don Shula. They were so great in the 70s that won a couple Super Bowls. In fact, the undefeated team. And Bobby did not want to leave Miami. Shula had to convince him to take that Redskin job. Because Bobby goes, I love the warm weather. I love the being by the ocean. My family's there. My wife likes it. And Shula told him, listen, go to Washington, make a name for yourself. And he did it too. He built up those Washington teams with those great offensive lines.
Now, he and Joe Gibbs, was their relationship well? Did he have a good relationship with Coach Gibbs?
He had an excellent relationship with him. In fact, he wanted to hire Joe Gibbs. He went to the Redskins owner at the time, Jack Ken Cook, and told him that. Cook goes, who's Joe Gibbs? And he goes, are you crazy? He goes, no, Joe Gibbs is the guy I want. And Joe got off to a slow start. And Ken Cook wasn't happy. So Ken Cook calls Beathard in his office and wants to meet with Gibbs. And Gibbs goes, I got a practice to run. And Beathard tells him, you don't have a choice. So he goes in there. All of a sudden, Gibbs starts winning. And Jack Ken Cook took credit and said, yeah, I always liked the guy. I wanted to hire him. But again, Bobby had to fight for
mm, mm, mm. But that's the kind of GM that he was. He was loyal. He was loyal to you. And smart move with Gibbs. I mean, 3 Super Bowls under Beathard. And unfortunately, didn't work out so well with the Chargers. Any reason for that, that he couldn't perform that magic out there in San Diego?
I mean, he did make a Super Bowl out there. He had Stan Humphries as his quarterback, but again, it's tougher. I mean, just to get this Super Bowl was an accomplishment in itself. And think about it: how many Super Bowls has San Diego been to? One, and he
Yeah,
brought it
that's
to
it.
him.
That's true. And he had a great coach then, too, and Bobby Ross at that time. Remember that AFC Championship game? That game, the Steelers should have went to the Super Bowl that year, but it didn't work out that way. But that was a Chargers team that all year played tough down to the wire. The talent that they had, and Stan Humphries, not the elite quarterback as were others back then, but they still managed to make it to the Super Bowl under him.
Look at the Redskins. I mean, with the Super Bowls they went to, the three they
Mhm.
won. I mean, you had Theismann, who was a good quarterback. I don't think he was a phenomenal quarterback. You had Doug Williams, who again wasn't a phenomenal quarterback, and Mark Rippon. I mean, he went there with guys who had no business in essence playing quarterback in the NFL. When you think of great quarterbacks,
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he won with Ripien and Doug Williams, he won with 3 different quarterbacks. I don't think that's ever been done before.
And Jay Schrader, I think, took him to one too, and he was no great shakes either.
That's true. That is true. Now, I've saved this one for last. Terrell Owens never really cared for the guy because of his antics on the field, off the field. Tremendous receiver, okay, a clutch receiver. But as I said, his antics rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Teammates, coaches, and he wore out his welcome a lot. He wore out his welcome with the 49ers. His antics with the Eagles was disgraceful, and especially the year that the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and lost to New England, even though, yeah, he did break his foot and missed about a good month or so of the regular season and only played in the Super Bowl, but still, his relationships with quarterbacks, not good. Well documented his relationship with Donovan McNabb and things like that. His body of work, however, gets him into the Hall of Fame. Now, he does not want to make his appearance at the induction ceremony next week. I find that disgraceful. What is your opinion on that, David?
I agree totally. And a lot of the Hall of Famers do too, because again, this is not for just him. This is for his fans. This is for his family. This is for his teammates, everybody who made him a great player. Again, this is his chance to thank all the people who helped him and to basically put a spotlight on him, show everyone who made him what he was. But again, he doesn't realize here, by doing this, he is alienating himself from every other Hall of Famer because, again, like Deacon Jones said, this is the one team you're a part of that you can never be cut from, traded from, or anything. You're here for life. And these guys will not forget it because he's making himself the center of attention here, taking the spotlight away from the other 7 Hall of Famers and every other Hall of Famer who's in there. And he's making it like he did during his career. It's about me, me, me. And that's not what it is to be a Hall of Famer.
When I first heard it, my mouth dropped. I'm like, you're kidding me. This is the first time I ever heard any such nonsense. You ought to be grateful that your peers, as much as a lot of them don't like you, put you into the Hall of Fame and you don't want to show up? No, totally unacceptable. First of all, I was surprised that he got elected this year. Being the idiot that he is, I actually thought that it was going to take him years down the line to get in. He got in way sooner than I thought. And like I said, this is a disgrace.
Now he's going to have his speech at his college the afternoon of the Hall of Fame inductions, which is another slap in the face. So he's going to say, I'm going to have my own show. I'm going to have it before the Hall of Fame, and everybody can watch me there. And you can buy tickets or whatever. This, again, it's a total disgrace. And these Hall of Famers are not happy about it. And if I'm one of the guys going in this year, like Jerry Kramer, I'm like, I had to wait all these years and to get in, and I didn't bitch and moan. I didn't have a hissy fit. I came. Same thing with Robert Brazil, Bobby Bethard, all those guys. Again, but he doesn't realize that he is taking the attention away. Or maybe he does. Maybe it's like Terrell Owens when he plays. It's all about him. Threw Jeff Garcia under the bus. Threw, like you said, Donovan McNabb under the bus. You sit there where you spit or you whatever on the Star in Texas. I mean, the guy has no class whatsoever.
None, none. And you figure the older you get, whatever nonsense you did in the past, there's a thing called maturity. And he has shown that he is still not mature. Oh my God. I'll give Randy Moss a whole lot more credit. He was a crazy guy himself back in the day. As he got older, he chilled out. He became a great ball player without the antics and the attitude, and he's well deserving of being a Hall of Famer than Terrell. Now, my question to you, David, in this case, in the fact that Terrell will not show up next week, this coming weekend at the ceremony. What happens to his bus now? I personally feel the NFL should just, you know what? Yeah, we elected you in, but you know what? You don't want to come for your ceremony? Well, let's throw your bust away. We won't even put it in Canton. Would you agree on that? We know it ain't going to happen.
I agree totally. Same thing with OJ's box. It's still in there. It doesn't deserve to be in there, but again, their position is he got in, we got to put it in there and let it be there. But again, same thing. I have no respect. Maybe his bus will disappear like OJ did that time when it ended up on the side of the highway. Someone stole it from the museum and threw it off the side of the road.
Yes, yes. My God. Vince Lombardi right now must be turning over in his grave. Uh,
Oh yeah, if Deacon Jones was alive, he would have grabbed him by the throat and said, "What the hell are you doing?"
I
And
won't
a lot
blame
of the
him.
guys, I think, will do it. I think a lot of the guys would do it if they saw him.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you this much. He better hope that he and Ray Lewis don't ever cross paths because Ray is a crazy man and his dedication to the game, the way he played the game, and Terrell pulling this stunt, I just hope that confrontation never happens.
I like to see Jim Brown in his wheelchair grabbing by his throat. I'd still take Jim Brown.
you're, you're right. You're absolutely right. That would be something.
Oh,
I tell you, and he would have energy to get out of that chair and knock the crap out of him. And he's in his
oh,
80s now.
and he wouldn't care.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. He absolutely wouldn't.
Never politically correct, and he's not going to be politically correct at 80 years old or 80 years old.
No, no, that is true. Let's talk about some possible future Hall of Famers. I brought up Eli Manning. I know a lot of people doesn't consider him an elite quarterback, but one of the most durable quarterbacks. Only missed one game, and that's because of Ben McAdoo, that idiot, pulling the stunt like he did last year. Other than that, never missed the game. Other than that one benching, over 50,000 yards, two Super Bowls, two Super Bowl MVPs. When it's time for him to hang it up, will he get in?
I think it's going to take him a while just because he's thought of as the other Manning and all the other quarterbacks from this era. I mean, you're going to have his brother go in as the first ballot. You're going to
Mm.
have New England's Tom Brady first ballot. Breeze is going to be tough. So it's going to be difficult for him. I think he's going to have to wait a while, but I think he belongs in. Same thing with Jim Plunkett. Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls, and he's not in.
You know what? That's a good point. But Plunkett, he was always hurt. He missed a lot of games in his career, but when he did play, he did well. And as you said, two Super Bowls. Some people would consider Plunkett borderline, mainly because of the body of work. In football, is a lot about how many games you played and things like that. And I think that's what's keeping him out of the hall. But that is a good point. Tom Brady, we all know he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But he's 41, still playing, looks great. How many more years for him?
He's probably got another 3 or 4. But again, you never know at that age. I mean, Brett Favre had a phenomenal season. Next season, he gets hurt and he's out. So at that age, he could have a bad year this year. Tom Brady be done. But again, Brady's got something going for him that the old quarterbacks didn't. With these rules nowadays, these
Hmm.
offensive linemen, they're not trap blocking, they're not blocking, they're just pushing and shoving like sumo wrestlers. You can't touch these quarterbacks. It's a lot easier to play quarterback nowadays. Whereas in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, these guys were coming after you. And again, at 40 years old, they would have snatched you. And they did. You saw what happened to Joe Namath at the end of his career, Dan Fouts, all
Hmm.
those guys, Wyatt Tittle. I mean, they were broken. I mean, Brady has never taken the hits like some of these other quarterbacks did back in the day. Archie Manning. I mean, he got hit constantly with the
Oh,
Saints.
I feel bad for him. Oh, yeah, but you know what though? He's got two sons that has made 5 Super Bowl appearances and has brought home the trophy 4 times. So, even though his Archie's team's the best he ever did was 8-8 with the Saints. That Manning family is rich in tradition there, and he can't feel that bad. I mean, I'm sure Peyton and Eli will allow him to take home one of those trophies as long as he knows to give it back.
Exactly. Maybe I'll give him a ring.
That's true. That is true. Talked about Donovan McNabb. Had a pretty great career with the Eagles, went to one Super Bowl. Always felt that he, under his leadership, should have went to more. Kept coming up empty in the championship games. I ain't gonna put all the blame on him because he had a coach in Andy Reid that was lousy in clock management and stuff. In a lot of important games. Does he get in?
No, I think he's again the very good, but not getting in. Similar to like the Ken Andersons with the Bengals and those guys.
Wow.
I mean, great careers, but it's going to be tough for him. Again, there were great quarterbacks during that period of time, and again, he put up great stats. It's going to be real difficult for him.
That's interesting. I'm sure he's not going to be happy to hear that. Wow.
You figure you're going to put maybe 2-3 quarterbacks from every decade in, and during his time period in the 90s and 2000s, you're going to have Brady from that era. You're going to have Peyton Manning. Again, how many are you going to put in?
Yeah.
Breeze.
Breeze. That's another one. He definitely, in my opinion, gets in. His offensive numbers are tremendous. I can't see keeping him out for any length of time. I would say first ballot, or if not first ballot, the next year of eligibility. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, he's getting in real quick. The only way he doesn't get in the first ballot is if he retires the same year as a Tom Brady or one of those guys, and even then, they might put 2 in. But he's going indefinitely with all the records, and he's still going strong.
Mm. Now, I personally feel that he needs what will seal it up for him will be a possible one more Super Bowl appearance, whether he wins it or not. I think if he goes to the Super Bowl one more time before he retires, that should be one to do it for him.
Oh, exactly. Another one will cement it first ballot all the way. I mean, he saved that New Orleans franchise with that Super Bowl. I mean, they were in trouble after the hurricane, and again, he brought him back.
Yeah. Philip Rivers, excellent quarterback, but not enough to me, didn't have enough to take these teams to a Super Bowl. Not all of it's his fault, but a good part of it is good arm, tremendous arm, puts up good numbers. Any chance of him going in when he's done, or pretty much, he'll be talked about as just a good quarterback?
No, he'll be just a good quarterback. Same thing with Tony Romo. They're very similar. Great careers, never won the big game. Just solid players.
I never cared for Romo anyway. I wouldn't even put him in the same category. They used to put him in the same category, especially with the Cowboys. Aikman, Starback. I'm like, are you kidding me? This guy's only got one playoff win. I mean, Starback, Super Bowls. Troy Aikman's got 3. This guy has nothing. I
Danny
think.
White, my favorite quarterback at the time, was better than him.
That's true. That is true. That is true. You're right. But you got these critics that put this guy on a pedestal. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. You are really out of your mind. Ben Roethlisberger, how many more years for him? Because it seems like every year, certain parts of his body seems to break down toward the end of the season. He's been injury prone with the ankles, the shoulders and stuff. How many more years for him? 'Cause he's talked about retiring more than once. Could this be the year, let's say if the Steelers don't go to the Super Bowl, he may call it a career?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, again, how much more money does he need? Again, he's taken so many hits back there. I know he's a durable quarterback, but again, he's always playing with nagging injuries. Again, how much does he want to take it? I think he's won one or two Super Bowls. I mean, it's gonna be tough for him to keep going. And again, I mean, he's got some great players, but does he want to keep taking this pounding?
Yeah, that is true. And he's a big guy, but still too many hits. And well, we'll see.
But he's not
That,
like Brady. Brady avoids the hits, throws away. Roethlisberger seems like he likes taking the hits, and he still puts his head down.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. He just wants to show everybody how much punishment he can take. But he's up there in age now. I think he and Eli are around the same age. They're both, I think, 37 now. 37 going on 38. Eli, it's amazing how he stands up. He gets hit a lot. The offensive line now hopefully improved this year. Hopefully the same thing for Roethlisberger, and we'll see. Definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer to me. He had two Super Bowls in his first like 5 years in the NFL, which was amazing. Had a shot at a third one, lost to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, but still, in my opinion, a Hall of Fame career. One of the last things before I let you go, and I always thank you for coming on. Who's the next coach to be elected into the Hall, in your opinion?
I think it's going to end up being Jimmy Johnson,
Now,
but
you mentioned Jimmy Johnson. Why hasn't he gotten in yet? Two Super Bowl titles, back to back, mind you.
I don't know what the reasoning is. I mean, again, he deserves to be with two Super Bowls, but another guy I think should be in is Tom Flores won two, and he can't get to the finals. I mean, he
Yeah.
won two Super Bowls, like I said, with Plunkett, and they forgot about it. But a lot of them are saying, well, those are Madden's players from the first Super Bowl. But again, he took the teams there. Oakland was the first wild card team to win a Super Bowl, and he did it. And again, he had different rosters each time. It was like 4 years apart.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Oh man, I was going to put Andy Reid up there as a possibility, but I mentioned him in the beginning of the show. This is a guy that should have been to at least three or four Super Bowls, especially with the Eagles. I just look at him as just a great regular season coach. But when it comes to the playoffs, he continues to fall short.
He's similar to the old San Diego coach who's been a finalist, Coryell, Don
Yes.
Coryell.
It's a shame because Andy's a great coach. He really is a dedicated man. Been into it for so many years, almost like 3 decades. And it would be a shame the fact that he'll most likely be passed. The Super Bowl against New England, his clock management in the second half of that game was atrocious. That was a game that the Eagles should have beaten New England, without a doubt.
But
If
if you're going against the best coach probably in the history of football, or one of the best in Belichick, he just
yeah,
knows how to get it done.
true, and he's going in on the first ballot as well. Without a doubt, they ain't keeping him out.
No,
But you'll hear people say, "Well, he was the orchestrator of Spygate." Oh well, the whole Deflategate stuff. And I tell these New England haters, get over it. It doesn't mean that this guy was a lousy coach.
no,
Everybody cheats, as Bill Cowher used to say. Everybody cheats. You just gotta know how to do it. That's all.
and he did,
Uh,
and he won with different players all the time. The only constant's been Brady.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And on that note, we are out of time. But David,
Thank you very much.
I thank you for coming on. You are definitely a Hall of Famer in my book. And the books, you've got so many volumes now, is
Four volumes.
Oh my
Talking
God.
Football Hall of Famers remembrances, 138 Hall of Famers I've interviewed who talk about their careers.
Amazing. It's obviously the next time you come back on, it'll be volume number 5. Yeah, am I assuming correct?
Yeah, if I could get the 50 or so guys I'm still missing to give you some interviews.
Oh man. Well, see now that's a project. You got a year to hook that up. Between now and next year, you might be able to get at least 25 of them, 30. What do you think?
Hopefully, I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Well, I'll definitely be praying for you and hoping everything works out. Well, listen,
Thank you.
you take care,
You too.
and we'll definitely talk down the road. So God bless.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a good day.
You too now. Source Nation author David Spada. The books is Talking Football. He's got 4 volumes of it. And as I said, trust me, by the time he comes back on the show next year, it'll be a volume 5. And they made some good points. We both agree about Terrell Owens. The guy's just a clown, plain and simple. And if I was on the NFL committee, Hall of Fame committee, without a doubt, his Hall of Fame bus would not enter the doors of Canton. I'm sorry, I'll throw it in the garbage. Yeah, so plain and simple. Made a good points about Andy Reid. This guy's a great coach, but he's a great regular season coach. Had an opportunity to be a Super Bowl winning coach that year in 2003 against New England and blew it because of lousy clock management. So it didn't help too that Donovan McNabb did not have a good Super Bowl at all, and makes a good point about McNabb. He says he ain't getting in, and I can believe him. All right. Well, again, I thank David Spada for coming on. Always a pleasure to have him on the show, and definitely have him back next year. So until next week, as I always say, be good and be safe. Take care, everybody.
Get at me for beats, y'all.